Elliot Eisner was born in Chicago in 1933. He earned bachelor's and master's degrees in education and art, and a doctorate in education. He spent time as a high school art teacher, a college-level art teacher, and became a professor of education at the University of Chicago. When he died in 2014, he had been a professor of education and art at Stanford University. Elliot Eisner wrote extensively, authoring books such as The Arts and the Creation of Mind, Reimagining Schools, The Educational Imagination, and Cognition and Curriculum Reconsidered. He received the Grawemeyer Award, Jose Bustamantio's World Award of Education, and the Sir Herbert Reed Award from the International Society for Education through art during his life for his work in education. Eisner disagreed with the outcome-based behavioral objectives that guided curriculum and instruction. He believed that it would create a lopsided curriculum with emphasis put on those subjects that had easily measured outcomes and less emphasis on the more difficult-to-measure subjects with open-ended results. Eisner believed in productive idiosyncrasy, which gave students the opportunity to put more of themselves into the work, instead of having everyone have the exact same answer in the exact same way. He believed schools should be more flexible to allow for students who learned differently or had different strengths to flourish in school, as well as the ones who had the more traditional strengths. He believed that while it was important to teach children to be the same in some ways, so they can fit in and be productive in a group setting, it was also important to allow them to figure out who they are as individuals. Eisner was an advocate for keeping the arts in education. He believed the arts had significant positive impact on cognitive development, and that it would teach students that there can be many ways to get something done. It would improve their problem-solving skills by giving them practice and looking at something from many different angles. He knew that in life, there is rarely only one right way of doing something, and by teaching children that there is only one way, we are not preparing them for the ambiguities of life. Eisner also knew that we learn through our senses and advocated for teachers to use this in their classrooms. Teachers should use curriculum that lets children experience things so they can create their own meanings of it. An example of this would be a child first discovering what an orange is. Instead of talking about it, where it comes from, and showing a picture of it, he would recommend bringing an orange to class and allowing the children to touch it, smell it, and taste it, creating their own idea of what an orange is. The public school system obviously does not completely agree with Eisner's ideas. As teachers, we will have to find ways to implement them ourselves. We should give children as much hands-on experience as we can, and give assignments that have more than one right answer or way to do it. We should look at the curriculum we are planning and make sure that we are not favoring one way to learn, such as visually or auditorily, over the others, such as interpersonally or musically. And we should find ways to include the arts in our classroom, which include music, dance, poetry, and photography, as well as painting and drawing. As teachers, the best way to implement Eisner's ideas would be to look at the way that we are setting up our curriculum, and to tweak it as needed to our individual students, instead of having a cookie-cutter way of doing everything.